What's up, y'all? I am Renny the Lying Virgin, Renny from the block, Renny Lovato, and this is my tarot vlog number 1, tarot and tattoos. So today I'm just gonna draw a little card from my deck, which I have right over there. I don't know if you can even see my hand right now. And then I'm gonna do a little story time, just because I feel like talking, honestly. Quarantine, very, very lonely. I need attention. You are the internet, and I'm hoping that you will pay attention to me. But we're going to talk a little bit about one of my tattoos. It's actually something I've been meaning to talk about for a very long time. It's like my favorite of my pieces. One of my favorites. You know, they're all my children. They're all my favorite children. But it's my back piece from this incredible artist in New York who's on Instagram at Ojos Magnificos. And we'll talk about their work, the tattoo, what it was like, what that whole like wild weekend was like, you know, adventures, misadventures, being stranded, canceling shows, the whole shebang. But first, I'm a tarot reader, so I'm gonna shuffle my little deck. I'm gonna draw just like one card, just to kind of give you a sense of what today's gonna be like, give myself a sense of what today's gonna be like, and you know, if you're watching this, maybe you'll also get something out of it. Today is, I think, November 25th. I want to say it's like a Wednesday. Yeah, let's see what's up. So card of the day, 3 of Swords. Heartbreak. Shouts out all my like heartbroken baddies, pretty bitches, bald bitches, you know, with that sword through their chest. If you're sad about something, keep being sad. Make it dramatic, make it pretty. If you gotta be sad, do it in public, right? Make it a song and a dance. Write a poem about it, write a song about it. Vlog about it, but you know, accept it. It's okay to be sad as long as you're still pretty. That's our card of the day, 3 of Swords. Hope you're okay. That's so sad. It's like the saddest card. I keep drawing that for people. It's a really sad time. Scorpio season's over, but we still all feel like very in that like Scorpio mindset. You know, it's like just such a funny time of year, right? It's like Sagittarius season. It's like November. We're really in like the first week, at least in North America, of like what is winter, right? Like it's not necessarily like that cold yet for a lot of people, but you know, you look at the trees, and most of them are gone. Most of the leaves, most of the foliage has like disappeared, and you know, the days are so much shorter. I live in Boston right now, and so it's like legitimately like the middle of the night is like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And I know it's like even worse for some people, or it will get worse for some people. So I'm kind of grateful to have as much sunlight as I do. It's actually unseasonably warm right now. This time of year is like kind of very emotional and very turbulent. And about this time last year actually is when I got this back piece we're going to talk about. Actually, I'll just show it off because I just want to talk about it. I really hope y'all are able to see this. Can you see it? I have no idea if you can even see it. This is probably like uncomfortably silent for y'all. But here we have, you know, this, if you can't tell what it is, there's like a skirt on the bottom with some spirals, and then kind of above the skirt is like, these like plumes of smoke almost, or these like portals, and then a broom and a shotgun. And so that piece, that was done again by an artist based out of Queens, New York. Ojos Magnificos is their at on Instagram, and they're an incredible multidisciplinary artist who I think graduated from the New School. They were involved in some organizing there, just regarding like, you know, creative spaces for students of color, artists of color in the New School. And they also organized as part of either their thesis exhibition or somebody else's thesis exhibition, an event called Sentares en Silencio, which was like an exhibit for a bunch of like queer and trans Latina artists to, you know, come and share work. And at the time I exhibited a zine I made called Death Cult, which was, you know, another like messy occasion. Like I printed these out and I like sent them, and then like the day of the exhibition, I like had class, so I like tried to come and my bus got delayed, and so I got to the event like right as it was closing. But it was very lovely, it was very nice, and I had a chance to meet the artist, who is like very gracious, very humble. And you know, I found out either that day or I found out later that they do tattoos in addition to their other work with, installations, galleries, paintings. So, I was trying to set up for a long time. I was like, oh, I want one of their tattoos. I want one of their tattoos. I saw them practicing doing these splash sheets. I'm like, I'm going to get to New York and I'm going to do this tattoo. But I had no idea how I was going to do it, right? Like, I live in Boston, so the trip's not that expensive. It's cheaper now, but I don't really want to travel right now. But at the time, it was like, how am I gonna go there and stay? How am I gonna eat? Because I was working for a catering company. Just selling hors d'oeuvres. Not the best paying job ever. And so at one point, it kind of all like lined up. Like literally, it was like the stars like perfectly aligned. It's like go to New York. So I got these 2 commissions from this theater company here in Boston, set to pay out around the same time in November. So, I was going to have enough for, my rent and then like a little extra to go do something fun. I was like, perfect. I have some money saved up for my job. I have this money from these commissions. I'm going to dip off to New York and I'm going to get this tattoo finally. And my plan was to get one of their smaller pieces, one of their kind of like symbols or some numbers, right? One of the things they do that's really cool is they work with like very magical symbolism and try to like really inscribe intention into their pieces. The way they talk about it's like pretty far out. Like when I was in their studio trying to like get this tattoo, I was like sleepless and delirious in pain. So I had no idea what they were talking about, but it sounded really fucking cool. But I was like, okay, cool. So I'll get this like rune inscribed, maybe on my wrist or something. It'll take a couple hours. And then I'll dip off because coincidentally, the same day that I had booked with them to get this tattoo done, there were actually 2 other opportunities that I had literally in the same neighborhood. So one of them was, I was invited to read for Proletarian Poetry Party, which was a series of readings that happened last year. In a few different cities. I think they had one in Philadelphia. I think I could be wrong on this one, but they had one in Ohio. And I know they had one in New York. And that was being hosted by a friend of mine, Matilda Cullen, who hosts the Prole Sound podcast, a podcast dedicated to working class poets, and like Marxist poets and poetry and poetics. Matilda's cool as hell. I'm probably going to be on Prole Sound sometime in the next couple weeks to promote my upcoming book, On the Way Down, which is a picture book with poetry by myself and Jake Nora Phillips. Jake Nora Phillips? Yeah. Vlogs are hard. Vlogs are really hard. Talking is hard. But I was invited to come be one of the readers at this Proletarian Poetry Party, and I was like, yeah, of course, I would love to read poems. And then coincidentally, right afterwards, there was a 24-hour play project, 24-hour play festival being hosted, organized by one of my very favorite people in the world, Kira Tanteo, who is the front woman of Monica Bang, an incredible punk band. She's also an actress. You can see her in a Princess Nokia video, actually, for Sugar Honey Iced Tea. She's one of the other models. And she's an incredible playwright, poet, actress, punk rocker, pretty bitch. Really just a fabulous, fabulous person. And yeah, she is part of a group that was looking for poets or for playwrights for the 24-hour play contest or festival where you would come, you would write a play, kind of overnight, and then a group of actors would come in the next day, rehearse it, and put it on the next evening. So they're like, yeah, come through. We'll meet in the late evening on this, whatever, I think it was like a Friday. We'll meet late in the evening on, let's say it's Saturday, right? We'll meet late in the evening on Saturday. We'll give out our prompts or whatever. No, it was definitely Friday. So we'll meet on Friday. You'll get your assignments. We'll all come back to my apartment, and we'll just write all night. We'll feed you. We'll give you a place to crash. I'm like, that's perfect, right? Because I can save on a meal. I don't have to buy a hotel room for the night, and I can just go back after the show. I'm like, this is perfect, right? So I have my day lined up, and I know it's like too much. Like honestly, like if you are a young early career artist, like trying to think about how to handle bookings, like do not do what I did and just like book yourself back to back to back. It's fun, it's really fun, and it's doable. But you have to have a lot of things lined up to do it correctly. Otherwise, you just end up looking like an asshole, like I did. So my problem actually ended up being that the very beginning of this like setup, where I'm about to get paid and have a bunch of money and be able to like go to New York and not really stress about this, didn't materialize. Artists, freelancers, especially those of you who work with nonprofits, know the pay is so unreliable. Like you genuinely never know when that shit's coming in. So the paycheck that I was expecting, the week before still had not materialized the night before I'm supposed to go to New York. So everyone's like, hey, are you coming? Like, can I get the deposit for this tattoo? I'm like, because I have like, in my account, probably enough to pay for like my bus ticket to New York and back. Like no more. Like genuinely no more, no less. I wasn't even sure if I would have enough to get back if I went. And so I was like, oh God, like that's so embarrassing. I feel like an asshole, because I kind of like have all these people expecting this, depending on me. And I still like the night before have not confirmed anything. And so I try to lay down to go to sleep. Like I'll figure it out in the morning. In the morning, I'll just wake up first thing and I'll just like call them and like let everybody know I'm so sorry. And then I'll just, stay home, cry, drink 15 cups of coffee and play video games. But as I'm trying to sleep, I'm like laying my head down and my head's kind of facing the window. And like I can see so vividly like the moon, like almost full, maybe full, and then right next to it a really bright dot that I'm like pretty sure was Mercury, because I just remember like Mercury and the moon were like around the same place at the time. I'm just like, ooh, Mercury's my bitch. Like, I'm a Virgo, that's my homegirl. Like, Mercury tells me what's up. And, Mercury rules, like, travel and writers. So what should I do when I'm, like, staring Mercury in the eye, right? I should go travel to do writing things. So I make up my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the first train to the bus station, catch the first bus, and I'm gone. So I stay up all night, I pack a little bag, grab all the snacks I can from the pantry, and then, I catch the train to South Station. I ask at the terminals, I'm like, hey, when's the next bus to New York? When can you get the next bus to New York? They're like, do you have cash? Like, I can get cash, like, get $25 and then go to the terminal and meet the driver there. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna ask, you know what I mean? Like, these dudes are chilling, right? They're at the bus terminal, like, ticket center or, like, information center for their thing, and these two dudes are, like, chilling kind of, like, back away from their desk, like, and one of them, like, I shit you not, is teaching the other how to play, like, Euro Truck Simulator, like, 2018, which I thought was so funny, right? Like, you have to really love large motor vehicles to work in a bus terminal, and then, like, play Euro Truck in your break at a bus terminal. If you don't know what Euro Truck is, look it up. It is one of the best-selling video games of all time, and it's exactly what it says in the tin. You drive like largish trucks, mostly like 16-wheelers across Europe. They're pretty detailed roads. Like they're pretty much the actual like roads in Europe. They're pretty much the actual trucks you can drive. Different like freighters, buses, semis, sometimes work vehicles. It was fabulous. So these like beautiful Euro Truck enthusiasts are like, go to the terminal with some cash at this time and we'll get you on. So I go, I get my cash from the ATM, I get a little apple pie from the McDonald's, and I go to the terminal. The driver is like, does the count off, he's like, okay, we have this many seats, counts out like so many people from the whatever, comes, takes their cash in hand, lets us onto the bus. I don't know if they pocketed the money, if they gave that money to the company, and that's just how they do like last minute like seating or whatever, but the moral of the story is that I got on my bus. So I'm on the first bus to New York with, a dollar and a dream, really. I'm like, okay, you know what? So far, so good. Take my little nap. Send emails on my phone to everybody, like, oh yeah, no, I'll be there for sure. get the little ding, direct deposit. I finally got paid for those theater gigs. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'll be able to actually like pay this tattoo artist. Like, please pay your tattoo artists. Pay tattoo artists, tip them, be nice to them, shout out their work. That's part of why I'm doing this video, because I wanted to like really show off this beautiful, beautiful tattoo that I got. Again, Ojos Magnificos on Instagram. But like, tattooers are just so wonderful. I love tattoos. I love the ritual. I love the ceremony. I love the pain, the blood, the ink. I love the environment of studios. So, you know, my first stop for the day is their studio, right? And we had kind of met in passing before, but we never really spent time like that. And I get there, and, you know, I got there like mad early, so I'm just chilling, I'm waiting. It's like this beautiful apartment building in Queens, New York, which is probably one of the most like special places on earth. Shouts out Queens. Shouts out everybody from Queens, unless you're racist or transphobic. And, you know, I'm waiting for them, I'm chilling, I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna get this like small tattoo, be out of here in a couple hours, go to this reading, go to the 24-hour play festival. I'm chilling. And so they get there and they're like, oh cool, come on, hang out. You know, we take a second, we get comfortable, drink some water. I'm like looking at their studio. It's like it's a couple bedroom apartment that them and some other friends had rented out to use as like an art space. And the walls are just covered in these like beautiful paintings done on cardboard of, you know, city streets and alien spaceships and like, you know, this made up language that they had created, and all these beautiful phrases and like number sequences. You know, I'm like, this is fly. Like, legitimately, like, this is tight. Just so much art, so much creativity, just like filling up the walls, filling up the spaces. They're like, I don't know what else to do here. I'm like, you could, you know, decorate the ceiling. They're like, just so many. They had altars. They had like 6 or 7 different altars. Incredibly, incredibly elaborate setups. Just a really beautiful, like, magical space. For like what they're like straight up. Like, this is a ceremony. You know, they do ceremonies. They're like really invested in this idea of like trying to decolonize tattooing, right? It's like one of the oldest human art forms is decorating our bodies, is taking a needle and like hammering ink into our skin. And like, you know, forever Native peoples have always been, you know, about it, like always just like decorating our bodies, creating these like elaborate shapes and structures and colors. I'm like, this is tight. And, you know, at this point, I haven't slept. Sorry about that. I had some issues with my camera. I'm back now. I'm gonna cut that in. Yeah. So I'm at the studio. We're getting ready to do this tattoo. God, I completely lost my train of thought. We're gonna do this tattoo. I was talking about, you know, how magical tattoos are. You know, they're fly. They're really tight. But I hadn't eaten. I had not eaten or slept in about 24 hours already at this point, which is like exactly the opposite of what people tell you to do before tattoos. Like, if you're going to get a tattoo, you make sure you eat well, like you eat a decent meal, you get a good night's sleep, like make sure you're ready, because it's physically painful. Like, you're actually like traumatizing your skin in order to like keep ink under it, in order to make sure it heals well and you have a good time. Eat, like treat it like you'd be giving blood, you know? But I had not done that because I was incredibly broke. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool, this will be fine. Gonna get a small little piece of ink and I'm gonna go, you know, like my first tattoo basically, right? It took like, it's just like a heart on my shoulder. It took like 30 minutes. I'm like, I want to take a little longer than that, you know, I'd like to get something a little more intricate and spend some time with this artist. But I'm like, okay, this will be 2 hours tops. And we're looking through their like sketchbook. They're like, here, look at what I have. Look at some of the things I've been thinking about doing. I'm like, oh, I like that one. Let me do that on my wrist. Like, oh, really? Are you sure? Like, come on, keep looking. You know, and in my head, I'm like, they clearly like know that like this is not what it's supposed to be. You know, like I feel like they're a very like intuitive person. So they're like, no, I'll know the one. And they keep flipping. They keep having things they want to show me. And I'm being kind of a jerk. Like, I'm kind of trying to rush. And then they show me this like beautiful sketch, you know, this like billowing skirt with this like shotgun and this broom. And immediately I'm like, that's the one. Because literally, like, not the night, like the night before, when I was up all night, like packing, getting ready, I was talking to my roommate about this story of like my great grandparents, right? Like basically mom's dad, my mom's dad's like sisters, right? All of them. This was back in Texas, the 18 somethings. At the time, Native family living in Texas was not too cute, right? I mean, they'd been in the area forever and a day. However, white people think they own everything. So at some point, fucking white folks come around and say you gotta go, right? And at one point, midnight riders pull up, try to like break into the house and kidnap somebody, and they fight them off legitimately with brooms and pots and pans, just like bust the shit out of these dudes. Until one of the girls in the house gets, the old shotgun and chase them off, right? And then later, eventually, those fools came back. They assassinated basically one of my great aunts. And then later in revenge, one of her brothers took that same shotgun and killed like 5 white dudes. I'm guessing they were Klan, but like it doesn't even matter. He stayed free till the rest of his life, shout out. But just, I was telling that story, I was talking about that kind of like history of like, what it takes to survive in this country, for people of color with my roommate. And so I see this sketch in their book talk of, a broom and a shotgun and this skirt that reminds me of this velvet skirt that I wear all the time. I'm just like, hell yeah, that's it. That's the one, absolutely. And I know that they have, the artist has their own like meaning behind it. For them it was its own story related to their family, but they were like, that's cool that you want that one, let's do it. Like, where do you want it? I'm like, honestly, let's put that on my back, right? Like, I always wanted like a neck piece that kind of came up above my shoulders. They're like, cool. So, I kind of hunch over, kind of like squat on my legs, and they just get in there, start moving, and they're working slow. They work slow as fuck, at the time at least. They're trying to make sure every line is right, get all the details, trying to do it right, really do justice by it. And I realized about 20 minutes in, I'm like, oh wait, this is gonna be a really intricate piece. So I on our first break, I text everybody, I'm like, hey, I can't come to the show, I can't come to the reading, I can't come to the play festival, and at the time I'm like, what the hell am I doing? That play festival is like where I'm gonna sleep, what am I talking about? But I'm like, no, this tattoo is what it is right now. So spend the next few hours just hanging out, talking about life and relationships with this tattoo artist, Ojos Magnificos on Instagram, give him a follow. And it was lovely. Yeah, completed the ceremony. I'm like delirious from like pain, lack of sleep, and hunger. We go on, part ways. I pay them what I have. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I just spent all my money and I don't have a place to stay. So I'm like, okay, that. So and it's already late, like it's legitimately like, there's not a bus that I can afford for us that day, right? Like, all of the red-eye buses are like sold out, and all of the midday buses are just too expensive. Like, I could not afford them if I wanted to. So I book a bus for like the first thing in the morning, again, like the first bus out of the station, and I end up finding a hostel that, they're sold out, but they're down to let me just like chill in the lobby and charge my phone. So I just like lay on this couch, like bleary-eyed, like one eye open, like scrolling my phone so it doesn't look like I'm sleeping, but like I'm like trying to rest on this like hostel couch for like 6 hours, call it a nap. Finally get up, walk back into the cold, take the train, get on the bus, take the first bus back to Boston, come home, sleep for about a day, and ta-da, new tattoo. So that's the time I blew off 2 writing gigs, got a new tattoo, slept in a hostel lobby, and went completely broke in the same weekend. That was about a year ago. That's Sagittarius season for you. Interesting time. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about I do not know what. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I'm Renny the Lying Virgin, Renny Lovato, Renny from the block. I do tarot, I do a lot of different things. You can catch me here on this channel pretty much every day with a vlog from now on. You can catch me streaming on Twitch from time to time at wrennyxj9. Catch me on Twitter at Cuidadx, Cuidadx, same for Instagram, where I also do tarot readings. So if you or somebody you know needs a tarot reading, hit me up on Instagram at Cuidadx, Cuidadx. And stay tuned, because like I said, I got a book coming out this week.